Once upon a time, in a small town nestled between rolling hills and a sparkling river, there lived a girl named Clara. Clara was 16, with an insatiable curiosity and a heart full of dreams, but she found herself at a crossroads. As she approached the end of high school, the looming question of her future weighed heavily on her mind. What career should she choose? Clara was an excellent student, excelling in a variety of subjects. She loved the thrill of science experiments in the lab, the beauty of crafting poems in English class, and the excitement of painting in art. Her teachers often praised her for her creativity and analytical thinking, but the more she was encouraged, the more overwhelmed she felt. Each possibility seemed to open a door to a different life, but with each door she considered, another set of questions emerged. As summer approached, Clara decided to take a break from the pressures of school and venture into the world to explore her interests. She spent her days volunteering at the local animal shelter, where she discovered a deep love for animals and a desire to help them. Yet, when she thought of becoming a veterinarian, doubts crept in. What if she couldn't handle the medical side? What if she had to put a beloved pet to sleep? Next, she enrolled in a photography class, where she learned to capture the world through her lens. The thrill of snapping the perfect shot filled her with joy, and she dreamt of becoming a professional photographer. However, the thought of the unstable income and the competitiveness of the industry made her hesitate. Would she really be able to make a living doing something so unpredictable? Clara's best friend, Lily, was determined to pursue a career in engineering. She often shared her excitement about designing innovative structures and solving complex problems. Inspired, Clara tried her hand at coding and robotics, finding it intriguing but ultimately feeling that the rigid structure of engineering wasn't for her. One afternoon, Clara sat by the river, sketchbook in hand, feeling the weight of her indecision. The sun dipped low in the sky, casting golden rays over the water. Suddenly, an idea sparked in her mind. Instead of trying to narrow her choices, what if she explored them all? Why couldn't she pursue multiple passions? With renewed energy, Clara set out to combine her interests. She enrolled in workshops and summer camps that offered a taste of various careers. She joined a writing group to hone her storytelling skills, attended art classes to refine her painting techniques, and took part in science fairs to experiment with new ideas. Each experience brought new insights and connections. At a local art exhibit, she met an environmentalist who spoke passionately about using art to raise awareness about climate change. Inspired, Clara began to see how she could merge her love for art and science, envisioning a career where she could create compelling visuals to promote environmental causes. As the school year started again, Clara felt a sense of purpose. She began working on a project that combined photography, painting, and writing to tell stories about endangered species. With each photo she captured and each story she wrote, she felt more aligned with her true self. However, self-doubt still lingered. What if her chosen path wasn't stable enough? What if she couldn't make a difference? Clara sought advice from her guidance counselor, who encouraged her to reflect on what truly mattered to her. Clara, the counselor said gently, life is not about fitting into a single box. It's about exploring, growing, and following your passion. Sometimes, the best path is the one you carve out for yourself. With those words in mind, Clara started to embrace the uncertainty. She began to share her project online, creating a blog where she documented her journey and showcased her art. To her surprise, the response was overwhelmingly positive. People resonated with her stories, and she even received offers to collaborate with local environmental organizations. As she neared graduation, Clara felt a mix of excitement and fear. She still didn't have a single career path in mind, but she had discovered a multitude of possibilities. Instead of feeling confined by her indecision, she felt liberated by it. On graduation day, Clara delivered a speech about the importance of following one's passions and embracing the unknown. She encouraged her classmates to explore their interests without fear of choosing wrong. As she stepped off the stage, she felt a wave of relief wash over her. She realized that life was a series of explorations, not just a destination. In the years that followed, Clara pursued a path that was uniquely her own. She became an advocate for wildlife conservation, using her art to inspire others and promote environmental awareness. While she didn't follow a traditional career path, she found fulfillment in every project and connection she made. Clara learned that it wasn't about choosing a single career, it was about creating a life that reflected her passions. And in that realization, she found her true calling, not just as an artist, but as a storyteller, a conservationist, and a beacon of hope for others lost at their own crossroads.
Thomas Edison. Known for inventing the light bulb, Edison faced numerous failures before achieving success. He famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." His perseverance exemplifies how determination can lead to groundbreaking achievements. The relentless traveler. A young man named Sam traveled to an English-speaking country. Despite speaking little English, he engaged with locals, practiced daily, and embraced mistakes. Over time, his confidence grew, and he became fluent, finding new opportunities in life. The determined woman. Maria, a single mother, wanted to learn English to help her children. She attended evening classes and practiced at home. Her dedication paid off when she secured a better job, which allowed her to provide for her family and set a great example for her kids. The overcoming fear. John was terrified of speaking in public. He joined a local speaking club where he practiced his English in a supportive environment. Gradually, he built his confidence, eventually giving presentations in English and inspiring others to overcome their fears. The passionate reader. Lisa loved stories but struggled with English. She started reading children's books, gradually moving to more complex literature. This not only improved her language skills but also reignited her love for reading. These stories show that persistence, passion, and practice can lead to success in learning English. How to be successful. A story. Once upon a time in a small town, there lived a young woman named Maria. She dreamed of becoming a successful artist, but her journey was filled with challenges. Maria faced many rejections when she submitted her work to galleries. Instead of giving up, she learned from each experience. She took art classes, sought feedback, and practiced every day. Her perseverance started to pay off when she received her first acceptance into a local exhibition. As she gained confidence, Maria networked with other artists and attended workshops. She realized that success was not just about talent but also about building relationships and learning continuously. One day, Maria had an opportunity to showcase her work in a prestigious gallery. She prepared tirelessly and presented her art with passion. The exhibition was a success, and she received praise from critics and collectors alike. Maria's story teaches us that success is a journey filled with hard work, resilience, and the willingness to learn from failures. By staying determined and open to growth, anyone can achieve their dreams. First class. I walked into my first English class, feeling nervous. The teacher greeted us with a smile and started with simple phrases. Slowly, I began to understand basic greetings, which boosted my confidence. 2. Watching movies. I started watching English movies with subtitles. At first, I struggled to keep up, but soon I began to recognize words and phrases. This made learning enjoyable and helped improve my listening skills. 3. Language exchange. I joined a language exchange group. Meeting native speakers was intimidating, but they were patient. Speaking with them helped me practice conversational skills and learn colloquial expressions. 4. Reading books. I picked up a few children's books in English. The simple language and illustrations made it easy to follow along. Each new word I learned felt like a small victory. 5. Online courses. I enrolled in an online English course. The structured lessons and interactive quizzes kept me engaged. I appreciated the ability to learn at my own pace. 6. Writing a journal. I started keeping a daily journal in English. Writing about my day helped me practice vocabulary and grammar. Over time, I noticed my sentences became more complex. 7. Listening to music. I began listening to English songs and reading the lyrics. Singing along helped improve my pronunciation and made learning fun. I also discovered new vocabulary through the lyrics. 8. Using language apps. I downloaded a language learning app. The daily exercises and flashcards made it easy to practice vocabulary on the go. I enjoyed tracking my progress. 9. Traveling abroad. I traveled to an English-speaking country. Immersing myself in the language was challenging but rewarding. I learned to communicate in real-life situations, which built my confidence. 10. Joining a club. I joined an English book club. Discussing books with others not only improved my speaking skills, but also deepened my understanding of the culture and context behind the language. Here are 10 tips for improving your English through storytelling. 1. Read short stories. Start with simple stories to build comprehension. 2. Listen to audiobooks. Hearing the narration helps with pronunciation and intonation. 3. Summarize stories. After reading, write or speak a summary in your own words. 4. Retell the story. Practice retelling stories to improve your fluency. 5. Use story prompts. Write your own stories using prompts to spark creativity. 6. Join a storytelling group. Share and listen to stories with others to enhance your skills. 7. Analyze characters. Discuss characters' motivations and actions to deepen understanding. 8. Create visual aids. Use drawings or diagrams to illustrate the story's plot. 9. Focus on vocabulary. Note new words and phrases as you encounter them in stories. 10. Write your own stories. Practice writing in English by creating your own narratives. These tips can make learning English through stories both enjoyable and effective. Learning English in Canada, a journey of growth. Once upon a time, Maria, a young woman from Brazil, dreamed of learning English to expand her opportunities. She decided to move to Canada, a country known for its diverse culture and excellent language programs. Upon arrival, Maria enrolled in an immersive English language school in Toronto. The school offered classes with native speakers, focusing on conversation skills, grammar, and vocabulary. Maria was nervous but excited to make new friends and practice her English daily. Every morning, she attended classes, where teachers used engaging activities like role-playing and group discussions. Maria found that participating in these interactive lessons helped her overcome her shyness and gain confidence. She also discovered the importance of listening. Understanding various accents became a vital part of her learning experience. Outside the classroom, Maria immersed herself in Canadian culture. She joined a local book club, where she practiced her reading skills while discussing literature with others. On weekends, she explored the city, visiting museums, parks, and markets, which allowed her to apply her language skills in real-life situations. Maria also made friends from different countries, forming a supportive community. They practiced English together, shared their cultures, and even cooked traditional meals from their home countries, creating a rich exchange of languages and experiences. As months passed, Maria's English improved significantly. She felt more comfortable speaking, writing, and even understanding Canadian humor. By the end of her year in Canada, she not only mastered the language but also built lasting friendships and unforgettable memories. Maria returned to Brazil with newfound confidence and a love for the English language. Her journey in Canada taught her that learning a language is not just about grammar and vocabulary. It's about connection, culture, and personal growth. And so, Maria's adventure showed that with determination and the right environment, anyone could learn English and thrive. Here's a story about how I learned English in Canada. When I arrived in Canada, I knew that learning English was essential for my integration. At first, I felt overwhelmed, but I was determined to improve my skills. I enrolled in an intensive English course for beginners. The classes were engaging, with friendly teachers who encouraged participation. We practiced everyday conversations, which helped me gain confidence. I also made friends from various countries, motivating me to speak English outside the classroom. Every day, I listened to English music and watched TV shows with subtitles. This not only improved my listening comprehension, but also expanded my vocabulary. I explored the city, interacting with locals in shops and restaurants, which provided real-life practice. Over time, I noticed I could communicate more fluently and that people understood me better. The key was not to be afraid of making mistakes and to stay open to learning. After several months, I felt comfortable speaking English and had made lifelong friends. Today, I am grateful for the experience of learning English in Canada, as it not only improved my language skills but also opened many doors in my personal and professional life. To learn English quickly, consider these effective strategies. 1. Immerse yourself. Surround yourself with English through movies, music, and podcasts. This helps you get used to the language naturally. 2. Practice speaking. Engage in conversations with native speakers or language exchange partners. Speaking regularly builds confidence and fluency. 3. Use language apps. Apps like Duolingo, Babbel, or Rosetta Stone provide structured learning and practice opportunities. 4. Expand vocabulary. Focus on learning new words daily. Use flashcards or vocabulary lists, and try to use new words and sentences. 5. Read and write. Read books, articles, or blogs in English. Keep a journal to practice writing. It reinforces what you learn. 6. Set goals. Establish specific, achievable goals, like learning a certain number of words per week or having a conversation for 10 minutes daily. 7. Take classes. If possible, enroll in an English course for structured learning and guidance from a teacher. 8. Be consistent. Dedicate time daily to practice. Consistency is key in language learning. By combining these methods, you can significantly improve your English skills in a shorter time. The Starfish Story. A man was walking along a beach when he noticed a boy throwing starfish back into the ocean. The man asked, "Why are you doing this? There are thousands of starfish. You can't save them all." The boy replied, "I can save this one." He picked up another starfish and tossed it back into the sea. This story reminds us that even small actions can make a significant difference. The bamboo tree. A farmer planted a bamboo seed. For 5 years, he watered and nurtured it, but nothing appeared. In the 5th year, the seed finally sprouted and grew up to 90 feet in just 6 weeks. The moral is that success often requires patience and perseverance. Sometimes, growth is happening beneath the surface before it becomes visible. Thomas Edison faced many failures. Here are a few motivational stories in English. The Starfish Story. A man was walking along a beach when he noticed a boy throwing starfish back into the ocean. The man asked, "Why are you doing this? There are thousands of starfish. You can't save them all." The boy replied, "I can save this one." He picked up another starfish and tossed it back into the sea. This story reminds us that even small actions can make a significant difference. The bamboo tree. A farmer planted a bamboo seed. For 5 years, he watered and nurtured it, but nothing appeared. In the 5th year, the seed finally sprouted and grew up to 90 feet in just 6 weeks. The moral is that success often requires patience and perseverance. Sometimes, growth is happening beneath the surface before it becomes visible. Thomas Edison faced many failures before inventing the light bulb. When asked about his countless attempts, he famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." His determination teaches us that failure is a part of the journey to success. The Two Wolves. An old Cherokee told his grandson about a battle between two wolves inside everyone. One wolf represents anger, jealousy, and fear, while the other embodies love, kindness, and joy. The grandson asked, "Which wolf wins?" The old man replied, "The one you feed." This story emphasizes the importance of nurturing positive thoughts and emotions.
Once, in a small town, lived a girl named Mia who had a fear of heights. Every time she walked near the edge of a hill or looked out from a tall building, her heart raced, and she felt paralyzed by anxiety. This fear kept her from joining her friends on hikes and adventures. One day, Mia's school organized a field trip to a nearby mountain. Excited but terrified, she hesitated to sign up. After talking to her best friend, Alex, who encouraged her to face her fears, Mia decided to go. On the day of the trip, as they climbed the winding trail, Mia felt her anxiety creep in. When they reached a lookout point, she could see the valley below, and her heart raced. Alex noticed her distress and suggested they take it one step at a time. "Let's just take a few small steps closer," he said. Mia nodded, focusing on her breathing. With each step, she learned to ground herself, reminding herself of the beauty around her rather than the height. As they neared the edge, Mia felt a mix of fear and excitement. She looked down and gasped, but then turned to Alex. "Can I hold your hand?" He smiled and took her hand. Together, they stepped to the edge. Mia closed her eyes for a moment, then opened them. The view was breathtaking, the lush green valley, the distant river shimmering in the sunlight. For the first time, she felt a sense of wonder rather than fear. "See?" Alex said. "You did it." Over the next few weeks, Mia practiced facing her fear. She climbed stairs, stood on her balcony, and eventually went to a local climbing gym. Each small victory built her confidence, and with Alex's support, she learned to enjoy the thrill of being up high. Months later, the school organized another hike, this time to the summit of a taller mountain. Mia felt the familiar flutter of anxiety but remembered her journey. She shared her story with her classmates, encouraging them to face their own fears. When they reached the summit, Mia stood at the edge, her heart racing, not with fear, but with exhilaration. She realized that overcoming her fears was not about eliminating them, but learning to embrace and manage them. In that moment, she felt a sense of freedom and strength she had never known before. From that day forward, Mia became an advocate for facing fears, inspiring others to take their own steps toward overcoming what held them back.
Once upon a time, in a small village, there lived a young girl named Maya. She dreamed of becoming a doctor, but her family faced many hardships. Despite this, Maya worked hard in school, often studying late into the night by candlelight. One day, her teacher noticed her determination and encouraged her to apply for a scholarship. With her teacher's support, Maya submitted her application, pouring her heart into her essay about her dreams and challenges. Weeks later, she received a letter. She had been awarded the scholarship. Overjoyed, she worked even harder in her studies, often helping her classmates along the way. Years later, Maya graduated from medical school and returned to her village as a doctor. She established a clinic to provide free health care to those in need, inspiring many young girls to follow their dreams. Maya's story teaches us that perseverance and support can overcome any obstacle, proving that with determination, we can achieve our goals and make a difference in the world.
Once in a small town, there lived a young artist named Mia. She had dreams of showcasing her paintings in a grand gallery, but her lack of confidence held her back. Every day she painted in her tiny studio, pouring her heart into her work, yet she never dared to share it with anyone. One evening, while wandering through the town, Mia stumbled upon a community art exhibition. Inspired, she decided to take a leap of faith. With trembling hands, she submitted her favorite piece, a vibrant landscape that reflected her dreams. The day of the exhibition arrived, and Mia stood nervously by her painting. To her surprise, visitors were drawn to it, captivated by the emotions it evoked. A local art critic approached her, praising her talent and offering to feature her work in a larger exhibition. Mia realized that taking that first step had changed everything. Her confidence grew as she continued to create and share her art. Eventually, she held her own exhibition, filled with people who admired her journey. Through her story, Mia learned that the only limits are the ones we impose on ourselves. By believing in her talent and taking risks, she transformed her dreams into reality, inspiring others to do the same. How to be happy. Once upon a time, in a small village, there lived a young woman named Clara. Despite her beautiful surroundings, she often felt unhappy. One day, she decided to seek advice from the village elder, known for his wisdom. Clara approached him and said, "I want to be happy, but I don't know how." The elder smiled and replied, "Happiness is not found, it is created." Let me share a few secrets. First, he advised her to practice gratitude. Each morning, write down 3 things you are thankful for. This will shift your focus to the positive. Clara took his advice and soon noticed a change. She felt lighter and more appreciative of her life. Next, the elder suggested connecting with others. Spend time with friends and family, share laughter, and support one another. Clara organized a small gathering, and the joy she felt during that time was unforgettable. She realized that relationships were vital to her happiness. Finally, he told her to pursue her passions. Find what brings you joy and make time for it. Whether it's painting, gardening, or reading, do what you love. Clara began painting again, a hobby she had neglected. With each brushstroke, her happiness grew. As time passed, Clara transformed her life. She learned that happiness comes from within and is nurtured by gratitude, connection, and passion. From that day on, Clara became a beacon of happiness in the village, inspiring others to seek their own joy. And so, she lived happily ever after. Flexion. This story reminds us that happiness is a choice and can be cultivated through simple, meaningful actions. Sure. Here's a motivational story about learning English in Canada. When Maria first arrived in Canada, she felt a mix of excitement and anxiety. The bustling streets of Toronto were alive with people speaking English, and she often felt lost in translation. Having studied English back home, she knew the basics, but communicating effectively seemed daunting. Determined to improve, Maria enrolled in an immersive English course. The first few weeks were challenging. She struggled to understand native speakers and hesitated to participate in class discussions. But every day, she reminded herself of her goal, to connect with others and embrace her new life in Canada. One day, her teacher announced a group project. Maria was nervous, but she partnered with 2 classmates. They spent hours working together, and she realized how much she could learn from their conversations. They encouraged her to share her thoughts, and gradually, she found her voice. Outside the classroom, Maria sought out opportunities to practice. She joined a local book club, where she read and discussed novels in English. At first, she felt intimidated by the vocabulary, but with every meeting, her confidence grew. The supportive environment allowed her to express her opinions and ask questions without fear of making mistakes. One afternoon, she volunteered at a community event. As she greeted visitors and engaged in conversations, Maria felt a sense of belonging. She was no longer just a learner. She was part of a community. The smiles and friendly exchanges fueled her motivation even further. Months passed, and Maria's English skills improved significantly. One day, while chatting with a friend at a cafe, she realized she had effortlessly switched to English without even thinking about it. That moment was a turning point. She felt empowered and proud of her progress. Looking back, Maria understood that her journey was not just about learning a language. It was about overcoming fears, making connections, and embracing new experiences. Canada had not only taught her English, but it had also shown her the value of persistence and the joy of community. Today, Maria confidently navigates her life in Canada, sharing her story with others who are just beginning their own journeys. She often reminds them, every step counts. Embrace the challenges, and you will find your voice. I hope this story inspires you on your language learning journey. Sure, here's a story about learning English with tips included. Title: My Journey to Learning English. When I first arrived in Canada, I was determined to learn English quickly. I knew that immersing myself in the language was the best way to achieve this. Tip 1. Join intensive classes. I enrolled in an intensive English course. The classes were every day and focused on speaking, listening, and grammar. The teachers were native speakers, which helped me learn the correct pronunciation. Tip 2. Practice speaking with locals. Outside of class, I joined a language exchange group. I met Canadians who wanted to learn my language. Practicing with them not only improved my speaking skills, but also built my confidence. I learned to ask questions and have conversations about everyday topics. Tip 3. Use media to learn. To enhance my listening skills, I started watching English movies and TV shows. I chose ones with subtitles at first. This helped me understand the context and pick up new phrases. I also listened to English music, trying to sing along to improve my pronunciation. Tip 4. Keep a journal. I began writing a journal in English. At first, my sentences were simple, but I gradually started using more complex structures. Writing helped me organize my thoughts and learn new vocabulary. Tip 5. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. I realized that making mistakes was part of learning. Whenever someone corrected me, I saw it as an opportunity to improve. I became more comfortable speaking without fear of errors. As the months passed, I noticed significant progress. I could have conversations easily and even made friends who supported my learning journey. Looking back, I realized that the key to my success was staying motivated and embracing every opportunity to practice. By the time I returned home, I was proud of how far I had come. I had not only learned English, but also gained valuable experiences and friendships.
A young man's journey to learning English in the United States. Once upon a time, there was a young man named Carlos who moved from Mexico to the United States with a dream to master the English language. He arrived in Los Angeles, excited but also nervous about the challenges ahead. At first, Carlos struggled. He could understand a few words but found it hard to speak. To improve, he enrolled in an English language school. His teachers were kind and encouraged him to practice every day. In class, he made friends from various countries, and together they formed a study group. They would often practice speaking during lunch breaks, sharing stories about their cultures. Eager to immerse himself in the language, Carlos decided to explore the city. He visited local cafes and parks, where he practiced ordering food and asking for directions. One day, he struck up a conversation with a barista at a coffee shop. Although he stumbled over his words, the barista was patient and helped him with pronunciation. That small interaction gave Carlos a boost of confidence. To further enhance his learning, Carlos started watching English movies and TV shows with subtitles. At first, he struggled to follow along, but soon he began to pick up new vocabulary and phrases. He laughed at the jokes and felt a sense of accomplishment when he understood the plot. As time passed, Carlos made friends with some locals. They invited him to join them for weekend outings, like hiking and attending concerts. With every interaction, his English improved. He learned to joke and share stories, feeling more at home in the language. 1 year later, Carlos was amazed at how far he had come. He could converse fluently and had built meaningful connections. Looking back, he realized that every challenge had shaped his journey. Learning English in the United States was not just about the language, it was about embracing new experiences and building friendships. Carlos was no longer just a young man in a foreign country, he had become part of a vibrant community.
Title: Learning English in Canada. In a small town in Canada, Maria had just moved from Mexico. She was excited but also nervous about learning English. Determined to improve her language skills, she enrolled in a local language school. On her first day, Maria met her classmates from different countries. They shared stories and practiced speaking together, creating a supportive environment. Her teacher, Mr. Johnson, encouraged everyone to participate in conversations, helping Maria gain confidence. Every Saturday, the school organized language exchange events where students could practice English with native speakers. Maria met a friendly Canadian named Liam, who loved to explore. They went on weekend hikes, during which Maria practiced her English while enjoying the beautiful nature. Maria also immersed herself in Canadian culture. She watched movies, listened to music, and read books in English. She even joined a local book club, where discussions helped her expand her vocabulary. Over time, Maria noticed her skills improving. She felt more comfortable speaking and understood more during conversations. Her newfound confidence allowed her to make friends and connect with her community. By the end of the year, Maria had not only learned English but also found a second home in Canada. She realized that with determination and the support of others, she could overcome any challenge. Emma had always been drawn to stories, the whispered tales of her grandmother, the bold headlines that sparked her curiosity, and the vibrant narratives of everyday life. Growing up in a small town, she dreamed of becoming a journalist, capturing the world's truths one article at a time. After graduating college, she landed an internship at a local newspaper. Excitement surged through her as she clutched her press badge for the first time. Her mentor, an experienced journalist named Mr. Harper, warned her, "The best stories often hide in plain sight. You just have to look closely." One afternoon, while covering a town meeting, Emma noticed a woman sitting alone, scribbling in a notebook. Intrigued, she approached her during the break. The woman, Mrs. Lacey, shared her story, a fight to save the town's only library from closure due to budget cuts. Emma's heart raced. This was the story she had been searching for. She spent the next few weeks gathering interviews, piecing together the community's love for the library and the memories tied to its shelves. Her passion ignited further as she learned about the library's role in nurturing young minds and bringing people together. When her article was published, the town rallied in support. Petitions circulated, and town meetings filled with concerned citizens. Emma watched as her words sparked change, and for the first time, she felt the power of journalism in her hands. Her piece was featured on the front page, and she stood in awe as her story unfolded into a movement. Mrs. Lacey thanked her, tears in her eyes, saying, "You gave us a voice." In that moment, Emma knew she had found her purpose. She wasn't just a journalist, she was a storyteller, a catalyst for change. And as the sun set over her small town, she realized that her journey had just begun. Once upon a time, in a small village bordering a vast forest, lived a curious boy named Leo. One sunny afternoon, driven by a sense of adventure, he wandered deeper into the woods than he ever had before. The trees towered above him, their leaves whispering secrets in the wind. As he explored, he marveled at the vibrant flowers and the chorus of birds. But as the sun began to dip behind the horizon, Leo realized he had strayed too far from home. Panic crept in as he turned to retrace his steps, only to find the familiar paths had vanished. The forest, once enchanting, now felt daunting. With dusk settling, he spotted a small clearing and decided to rest. He took a deep breath, trying to quell his fear, and listened to the sounds of the forest. In the distance, he heard a gentle stream. Summoning his courage, he decided to follow the sound, hoping it would lead him to safety. As he walked, he stumbled upon a family of deer, their eyes wide with curiosity but not fear. Leo felt a sense of calm wash over him. He continued on, guided by the moonlight that filtered through the trees. Suddenly, he noticed a soft glow ahead. It was a small cottage, nestled among the trees. Knocking hesitantly, he was greeted by an elderly woman with kind eyes. She welcomed him in, offering warm tea in a place by the fire. As they talked, Leo shared his adventure and fears. The woman listened, nodding knowingly. She revealed that she had once been lost in the forest too, but kindness and bravery had guided her home. The next morning, after a hearty breakfast, the woman offered to help Leo find his way back. They followed the stream together, and soon they reached a familiar path. The sun shone brightly, illuminating the way home. When Leo finally emerged from the forest, he felt a newfound strength within him. He rushed home, where his worried parents embraced him. He shared his adventure, thankful for the wise woman who had helped him. From that day on, Leo never feared the forest again. He had learned that even in moments of uncertainty, courage and kindness could light the way home.